I took a couple of pots and played with how I could get them to fit together. I would put one pot inside of a larger one and then add the bottom tray and then put another pot on top. Once I determined which my top pot would be, I needed to work on sealing up the drain holes. I used a hot glue gun to seal up the holes at the bottom, but then I was worried that maybe that wasn't going to hold over time, so I ended up taking a layer of Flex Seal and spraying it on the inside as well. I checked to make sure that my pot was watertight, and then I was ready to go. I set everything outside and started to build my fountain. I filled it up with water, and then I decided to add some decorative elements to the outside of my pots. Since I wanted the fountain to work by itself outside and I didn't want to worry about changing batteries, I purchased a solar-powered fountain. I was able to just drop this in place and it started working right away. I wanted to decorate it to go with my fall decor, and so I used some leaves and a few other things just to kind of cover up any rough spots on the pot and to make it look decorative and festive and perfect for my holiday decor. And here's how it looks once I integrated it into my fall decor. You can really decorate this for anything. I think I might do a similar project at Christmas time and use some of that spray Christmas snow kind of stuff to cover the pots and then adorn it on the outside as well. You can really let your imagination run wild. I hope this inspired you to create an outdoor fountain of your own.
I hope you enjoyed that last project, but don't forget to hit subscribe. That way you won't miss any future Hometalk episodes. Now stay tuned. We got another one coming up right now.
For today's project, I ran to my local Walmart and grabbed two matching pots, one bigger than the other. I wanted to beautify the front of the house and make it look just amazing with the water feature. First thing I did was level an area in the front that would be in direct sunlight and put the bigger pot in first. Next, I grabbed an old bucket that I really didn't need anymore. I was going to place it upside down into the bigger pot. The biggest thing you got to do here is make sure that it's centered. If you need to add some rocks or sand to the bottom to make it sturdy, now's the time to do it. Next, I grabbed a flower pot base, one that was just slightly smaller than the rim, but I wanted to make sure that I turned it with the lip side down, and I'll tell you why later. Make sure it's centered, and then once it's in there, the next step is we're going to take the smaller pot that we got and place it on the center of that pot. Make sure it's centered. Next step, I want to grab some local rocks and place them around the edge. There was a slight gap around the edge, but I made sure to put the bigger rocks in first and then fill it with the smaller rocks. Now, if you want to plant flowers or anything around the edge, you're going to take that flower pot base, turn it with the lip side up. That way you can put soil inside. I went ahead and made sure that these rocks were strategically placed all around the edges to fill any gap and to cover the base completely. You can use Riverstone if you'd like on this project. Next, I got out a new solar powered fountain that I bought for $10. It floats in the water because it's got a float on the bottom, and it works great in direct sunlight, and it's got many different nozzles for spray patterns. With this fountain comes some plastic spacers. What this does is make sure that the fountain stays in the center of the pot. It avoids the splash coming outside of the pot when it's working. Once you put the clips in the spacer, there's little slots around the sides that you can put this into the foam. Now these are going to be a little bit bigger than you need, but they're trimmable. So take it, place it on the pot, and then what you're going to do is mark around the edges, give it about a 1/4 inch to 1 inch space. That way it kind of moves around just a little bit. Once you got it marked, you can go ahead and just trim it with a pair of scissors. It's easy to do. Make sure that it fits inside and it's going to be able to float up and down with the water level. Next step, put some nice clear water inside. Once you get it to the water level you want, go ahead and place the fountain inside. Make sure that it has the ability to go up and down as the water level changes from evaporation. Now, once the direct sunlight hits it, voila, you've got a water fountain. The most amazing thing about this is it's solar powered, so you can place it anywhere in your yard that it gets direct sunlight. No worries or cares about an outlet or cords running out underneath.
For this project, I headed over to my local Home Depot and grabbed a water spigot that goes on the outside of your house. Want to make sure that the flow of the water goes straight down. That is key. The back of it and the rest is not so much important. Now, we're going to grab a 2-foot long, 1/2 inch acrylic pipe. We want to make sure it fits inside the spigot. Next, we're going to take a drill, and we've got to drill about 6 to 8 holes around the edges. It's very important when you're drilling these holes not to push too hard. Just let the drill do its work. drill all the way around and about a ½ inch away from the top of the hose, but not too far away. Because once we get all the holes drilled, we want to make sure that it's going to fit inside the spigot. So the next step is we're going to grab some 2-part epoxy, just some inexpensive glue, and you're going to dab this on maybe a piece of cardboard. Now, the way the 2-part works is it's equal 2 parts. So put a little bit of one part, and then you're going to grab the other and put about an equal amount on there. It's not critical to be that exact. Take a little spoon or a little stir stick and stir it up. Only takes about 30 to 45 seconds of stirring. Then what you're going to do is put it on the end of the tube. Do not cover the holes. That's important. Just dab it on there, just a little bit on the ends. It doesn't take much. And go ahead, once you got it on there, go ahead and grab your spigot and stick it inside where the water comes out. You're going to need to hold this for about 3 to 4 minutes until it sets up. Once the glue dries, it's on there and it's solid. Now, the other end of the tube, that's going to have a little water fountain that goes on there. Now, the water fountain, make sure it has a good seal. Take some plumber's tape, wrap it around, peel it off, and then make sure it fits on the tube. If it's a little too loose, add some more. If it's too tight, take some off. We want to make sure that it's watertight so the water doesn't leak out when the pump is operating. Next, I grabbed a planter and put it up by the front door. I went with a little bit on the bigger side, but you can always go smaller. Put some bricks in the bottom because I don't want the pump on the very bottom of the planter. Next, I need to drill a hole on the side of the bucket where the plug can go through. Make sure it's just big enough for the plug. Next step is to go ahead and clean that up. Then before we put the fountain in, put it on a medium setting and go ahead and place it inside. Use 2 bricks to kind of snug it on there and then another 2 to hold it in place. Next, take the plug, put it through the hole that we drilled, pull it all the way through, get rid of a lot of the slack. And the next step is we're going to grab some clear silicone. This is going to seal the hole so that no water can get out. Go ahead and just start putting it on there. It doesn't have to look too pretty because a lot of times you'll have some of the rock that you're going to put in later cover that hole. I went ahead and sprayed it with some black paint afterwards just so it'll blend in. Now, put the rock in. Use some river rock if you can. And once you got it all in there, you're going to put some water in. I didn't want the water to be seen. I filled it up just enough so that it's underneath the rock. That's what's going to cause the magical effect. Now, once you got the water in and the rock spread, plug it in, and there you go. You've got a floating fountain. It looks as if the spigot itself is being held up by its own water. Something magical, and it's definitely going to be a conversation piece. We hope you enjoyed doing this project with us.